everyone. Thanks for joining me for the Founders and Startups podcast and video series. Today, I am here with Abby Walker, founder and CEO of Vivian Lou, and we are going to learn all about Vivian Lou and how she created the company and why she created the company. And well, let's just start by saying hello. Hi, Abby.
Hello. Thank you for having me on today. Excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. I'll also say before I jump in, my name is Lisa Connors-Vogt. I'm an executive coach and business strategist, and I love working with entrepreneurs and founders to help them create more fulfilling lives and the companies that they want to actually work in themselves in a sustainable way. So that's really fun for me. Thus, the podcast and video series, Founders and Startups. And you can learn more about me at everbetteryou.com. And I want to give some context to the conversation in that it is May 15th, 2020. And Abby and I are in our respective homes because we are still struggling mightily with COVID and some lockdown and quarantine rules. And so, Abby, where are you physically?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. And you are in which room of your house?
I am in my office, my home office. There may or may not be a child coming in asking for homework.
Yes, that is real life. It's a Friday.
It's actually the last day of school is Tuesday, so we're nearing the end.
How old is your child?
We had two. I have a fifth grader and a third grader.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. And so we'll get into our conversation a little bit of like how you're balancing all of that with your role as a business owner too. So I am in Bethesda, Maryland. I'm in my home office. This background of maps might look familiar to people who watch the videos regularly. Oh, I'll also say if you're watching this on video, you can check out the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts or Google Play or wherever you get your audio podcasts, or you can go to YouTube and check out our YouTube channel. So I'm in Bethesda, Maryland. My husband, Tim, is going to be starting his telework day upstairs in a couple of hours. So right now we're not dividing the Wi-Fi, which is good. Our son is in West Virginia. He goes to West Virginia University and he's been living in a house, which we pay for anyway. So it was like, might as well live there. But he's coming home on Tuesday. So that will be really
nice.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Is he home for the summer then on Tuesday?
We think so. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see how
long that lasts.
Yeah. So that's an opportunity for him to develop the business he's been thinking about and maybe do some, a side job, DoorDash or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So, yeah. And I live in Montgomery County, Maryland, where in Maryland, they've decided that the quarantine situation is going to be addressed county by county. And we're still very much in, stay at home, but they're encouraging us to go outside and even closing some of the main roads so that we can do more exercise on the weekend, which I love.
That's great.
Yeah. What's going on where you live?
Enough that we actually have, it's just a small condo, but up in the mountains. So we've been going up there regardless of the weather. Like if it's cold or if it's raining, we're like, we just need to change the scenery. So we're just going to go up there. It's like an hour and a half away. So we're like, let's just go, still our place, our stuff, but it's just a change of scenery.
Oh, that's really lovely. It's nice to be able to have that. It's really nice. Really nice.
We're lucky.
Let's jump into your founder journey. So tell us about Vivian Lou, what that is and how you created it.
Sure. So Vivian Lou I sell insoles mainly for high heels, and they empower women to wear high heels 4 times longer without pain. So I did not come up with the concept. I actually am the one who brings it to market. It is patented by a rocket scientist and a podiatrist who partnered together to bring to really help women wear high heels, like I said, longer without pain. And I have the privilege of bringing it to market as the exclusive distributor worldwide for this insole under the brand Vivian Lou.
Well, so that's so interesting. Okay, how did this partnership form?
Okay, so it was 2012, and I was working full time. I had 2 young kids, worked full time. My husband worked full time. It was just kind of the daily grind of going through the motions. And I knew like deep in my gut that I needed something different. Like I needed something different, something that inspired me, something that I loved. I really had felt like I had lost myself. So I started a shoe blog that I wrote to once a week. My husband gave me 1 hour on Saturdays that I could write to the shoe blog.
Okay.
And I had a whole whopping 36 followers. So I was not looking to monetize it. I was not looking to do anything other than write about a passion so that I could feel like fulfilled again and things that I love. And I posted occasionally over the years. And then in 2014, I actually posted a blog post about foot sprays that are designed to alleviate pain and reduce inflammation for women who wear high heels. And after posting the blog post, I did a little bit more research into the ingredients and found out that a lot of them had lidocaine in it, which is the numbing agents that dentists use.
Oh my gosh. Wait, Abby, can I stop you on that one for a second?
Yes.
You said foot spray?
Yes, a foot spray.
Okay. And so how does that work? Okay, I've never heard of that, I have to say. How does that work?
So there are creams and sprays on the market that you can put on your feet that help reduce inflammation and reduce pain. So like there are a couple out there. Still Standing, I think is one. They're just a couple different brands.
Okay.
And so it was just part of my market research as, helping women wear high heels and talking about high heels. I was just looking at products that were designed for women who wear high heels.
Yeah.
Turns out that a lot of them, like I said, have lidocaine in it, which is a numbing agent that dentists use. And I was like, high heels are hard enough to wear. We probably shouldn't be numbing our feet.
We're numbing our feet. Oh my God. The beauty industry. Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy. So then I was like, well, what are you going to do about it, Abby? And so I was like, I'm going to formulate my own foot spray that helps alleviate pain and reduce inflammation, but it doesn't numb the foot in the process.
Okay.
And so I knew nothing about formulation. I knew nothing about getting a product to market. But I was determined to do this. And so I actually hired a clinical herbalist and a naturopathic doctor, and we formulated this brilliant foot spray using all organic material.
Wow.
And there were no drug-like components. There was no numbing. It was just using natural ingredients, and it helped reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Mm-hmm. And we went to manufacture it. And I don't know if there was a miscommunication or what, but we did a big batch of it and it wasn't the same formula. And so apparently you can't just it's like baking. You can't just take a small batch formula and then go to large batch manufacturing. The formula comes apart. My manufacturer should have warned me about this or talked to me about it. We were talking price points, and then he came back and was like, well, it's going to be a lot higher to mass manufacture. At the time we had just moved to Minnesota and we were doing construction on a house. My husband's like, nope. You have a full-time job. This was fun while it lasted, but we have to get back to the real world.
Right.
And I was so crushed because I was like, this is something that excited me. I was super pumped about it. So one day I typed into Google, how do women wear high heels without hurt? And I had typed that in 1,000,000 times over the 2 years of writing this blog.
Right.
But a forum popped up that I'd never seen before, and two women were talking about this insole called Insolia, and they swore that it helped them wear their high heels longer without pain. I was like, why have I never heard of this? So I actually picked up the phone and I called the chairman of the company, and I was like, why have I never heard of your product? And his answer was, we're a bunch of MIT engineers that don't know how to market this product to women. And so we had this conversation. He sent me some samples. I wore them. Ironically, my husband had a conference in Vegas the next weekend. So I took him to Vegas, and anyone who wears high heels in Las Vegas knows how awful it is to wear high heels in that city.
Yeah.
It's so painful. And I fell in love with them. They were incredible. My feet were not hurting. I don't know if you are familiar with the high heel hangover, but it's the next morning where you go to take those first couple of steps and your toes are like repositioning themselves and your calves hurt, and it's just painful.
Wow.
So anyway, I did that, and I came back and I called him up and I was like, look, this is an incredible product. I would love to help you promote it and take a cut of incremental sales. And he came back and said that their company was pivoting. They were no longer doing direct to consumer, that they were making insoles that were going to be manufactured into shoes.
Okay.
But if I wanted the opportunity to become the exclusive distributor of this product, he was going to hand me this opportunity. And I said, like, my entire body said, yes.
Wow.
And then as he's talking, in like my head, it was like, the fear was like, you don't know what you're doing. You have a full-time job. You have 2 young kids. Of
course.
What are you getting yourself into?
Yeah.
But it was just such an incredible opportunity that I couldn't say no. So
wow. Okay, wait. Okay, let me stop you and ask you a couple questions about all that. Wow, good. That's amazing. When you went to work with that manufacturer for the spray, so did you lose money on that? Did you actually have them create a batch and you lost money on it?
Yes. Yeah.
How much did you invest?
So I invested, I think it wasn't much. It was like it was a lot for us, but at the time it was $2,500.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's all relative, right? But like, this was like a side project, and I can understand.
Side project. My husband was not anticipating getting any revenue. I mean, this was just like, hey, go throw some money away. So he's like, here, you can have $2,500. So,
yeah. Well, that was a priceless lesson, though, actually.
For sure.
Because it led you down this path.
Yes.
And then you just followed where, step by, pun intended, step by step, you ended up meeting these people. Wow, that is so cool.
And I often talk about like failures and like huge disappointments. And like to your point, it's all relative. And so you just have to believe that things happen for a reason. So like every entrepreneurial journey like takes all these twists and turns and ups and downs. And as long as you're open, and I say like little whispers, as long as you're open to listening to little whispers or like just taking like teeny action on one little nudge that you get, I feel like there's so much opportunity waiting behind failures or disappointments or whatnot. As long as you don't throw away your bigger dream, you just can fail on these kind of smaller level projects.
Yes.
Just lose sight of like your bigger dream and hope.
Yes. Little whispers. I really love that. I sometimes call that intuitive hits. Like I had an intuitive hit that I should do that. And it's really listening to and observing what's going on around you and hearing what people are suggesting to you. So how did you get over I can't do this. I have 2 kids. I have a job. I have this. I have that. I can't take this risk. How did you get over that?
To be honest, I don't know if I'm quite over it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I think it's a constant. I'm a constant work in progress. But in order to launch the company, I took it outside of myself and I was like, look, there are women who love high heels, who want to wear them longer. And it's my duty to get this product in front of them. So it wasn't about, it wasn't necessarily about me. And like, I just took the focus off of me and put the focus on the women who could benefit so much from these insoles. I don't know if you follow Marie Forleo at all.
I do.
Yeah. So she had a quote, and I'm totally going to misrepresent it, but it was something like, if you know something or have something to offer someone and you don't, you are robbing them of that experience, or you're stealing from them the benefit that this could provide. And I was like, I don't want to steal from anyone. So it's kind of my job to get this in front of women. And so I launched, but I didn't sign my name to an email. I didn't tell my friends and family that I had launched. I was so nervous and hid behind this phenomenal product, but I didn't come out from behind the product. And I realized that I was going to handcuff myself from growing the business. And so I actually reached out to a fellow entrepreneur who I'd met in a previous life, a previous job. And she had recommended that I call an EFT practitioner. So emotional freedom techniques, it's the tapping. That
wow. Awesome.
Yeah. And he has forever changed my life. So he helped me work through all of the, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worthy, all of these issues that you feel, or I felt as an entrepreneur. He helped tackle those for me. And I met with him weekly, sometimes twice a week as I was ramping up. And I still meet with him weekly just to tap through any issues that I may be facing.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Over like what period of time when did it start to make a difference for you?
Sure. So I started working with him. I launched in 2014, and I think I started working with him in early 2015. And I've worked with him weekly since then. So it's been years. Sometimes we don't have much to talk about. Sometimes I'm like, hey, either like I'm stuck in this business relationship? How do I approach this? Or I'm feeling fear around this. Help me clear the energy. It's more like clearing the energy so that I can work through and move through whatever issues I'm dealing with in the business.
Yeah. And did you start to see a difference in your thinking, like after one session or two? Immediately. Interesting.
Instantaneously. Yeah.
Fantastic. Because that, I do a lot of that in my coaching. It's a lot of mindset work, but it's different techniques. And so there's so many ways to address those challenges. And this is great. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate hearing it. Yeah. So at what point did you start putting your name on it and sort of coming out as Abby Walker?
I know, it's
Vivian Lou.
So it was in 2015 that I started to do that. I started adding my name to emails and kind of talking about it and sharing it and whatnot. But it was so convenient for me to say, I did not quit my job. This was a hobby job, as I called it.
Right.
I worked on it at nights and on weekends. I still had my full-time job. So it was very convenient not to have to make money in the business and not to have to put myself out there because it's just a hobby business. And I believe it was the summer of 2015. And I had convinced my husband that I wanted to get Vivian Lou off the ground. So he let me quit my full-time job and work for 3 months to try and get Vivian Lou off the ground. The goal was to cover my lost corporate salary in sales. During that summer, I was introduced to a sales coach, Ursula Menches, and she was putting on a free seminar on how to sell in Minnesota, where we lived at the time.
Okay.
And so I went, and I had literally just met her. I knew nothing really about her. I just went to this free seminar, and it was there that I discovered that there was so much that I needed to be doing in order to move the needle. She looked at me straight in the eye after the seminar, and she goes, what do you sell? How much are you charging? Right. And I told her, and she goes, you need to double your price.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
So it was like, when do I do it? She's like, tomorrow. So I doubled my price. It was nuts. But sales still did not. Ironically, after doubling my price, sales picked up, but not enough for me to cover my lost corporate salary. So I had to go back to corporate America. So that was kind of a big failure within this journey. Is I could either throw in the hat and say, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't deserve this. I honestly don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to continue. Right. Or I could say, this is just a blip in my journey. I'm going to go back. I'm still going to focus on Vivian Lou, and I'm going to one day take her to the next level.
Right. And do you still see that as a failure?
No.
Okay. I didn't think you.
From the outside looking in, it's a failure. Like, nice trying to be an entrepreneur, but it lit another fire underneath me to really figure things out.
Yes, exactly. And did you keep working with her as your sales coach?
Oh, yes. I worked with her again. Like, I find these folks that really have fundamentally shifted the way I think, and I work with them off and on for years. So I met with her earlier this year just for a one-off day. So I'm not in any like formal coaching programs, but I still rely on her expertise. And if I'm struggling with something, kind of reach out and touch base with her.
It's fantastic. Yeah. To build that community and people who are supporting you and adding to your skills. Wow. Okay. Let me stop and ask you though, too, why the name Vivian Lou? Where did that come from?
Sure. So when I launched the company, I really wanted to give the company a personality. And I thought the best way to do that was to give her a name. And so I struggled with kind of naming conventions, and I read all the books and all the articles and best practices. And to be quite honest, none of it resonated with me. I was like, this does not sound right.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I actually sat down one day and put together a list of attributes of all the women that I wanted to serve. And I think there are like 12 or 14 attributes. Like, she can run with the boys, but is feminine. She accepts a compliment with a simple thank you. She's a rule breaker, but knows when to fall in line. Just kind of all of these attributes of all the women that I want to serve.
Yeah.
And one night after dinner, I sat down with Bill, my husband, and I was like, what name comes to mind when I read you these attributes? And as soon as I finished, she's like, it's a no-brainer, Vivi. And so Vivian Louise was our 3-year-old daughter. And so she had all of these attributes despite never wearing a pair of high heels. He was like, she completely embodies this list of attributes. And so I sprinted downstairs to find any available domain name in any combination of Vivian Louise, and Vivian Lou was available.
Well, that's a great story. That's great. I love that. Okay. So thank you. All right. So then what happened next after that sales experience? You doubled your price.
Yeah, doubled the price, but and sales increased, but not enough to cover my lost corporate salary. So I went back to corporate America. I went back to corporate America in September, but in August, my brother-in-law is in retail. He works for Kohl's department store, their corporate offices. And he had gone to New York City and was at a retail conference, and he had heard this woman speak at the conference called Rachel. Her name is Rachel Sheckman. She owns a store in New York City called The Story. She did at the time. And they kind of rotate goods based on a story or a theme. And so every 6 to 8 weeks, she kind of tears down the store and rebuilds it with new goods, new materials, new theme.
Interesting.
And he was like, you should follow her. She's so inspirational. She's super cool. So I logged onto her email or her site, signed up for her email. The next week I got an email saying, we're having a pitch night. I didn't even know they had pitch nights, where they welcomed local artisans in New York City and entrepreneurs to come to pitch their product to the team to see if it was going to be in the next story. And so I sent them an email and I was like, I am not in New York, but I will fly to you and pitch you my products. And so I got an email back saying, hey, if you're able to make it out to New York City, we welcome you. Please come over. And so flew there, pitched my product. But the night that I pitched, I wasn't only pitching Rachel, I was also pitching Tori Johnson from Good Morning America Deals and Steals, and Mindy Grossman, who happened to be the CEO of the Home Shopping Network. And so,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, talk about nerves. I was so nervous. It was so, and they timed you. You only had 3 minutes. You had to have this presentation. And so I went up there. I don't even know what I said, but Mindy Grossman took off her shoes, her Christian Louboutins. She's like, put them in my shoes. I was like, they're permanent placement insoles. Are you sure you want me to put them in your Christian Louboutins? And she's like, yeah. So I put them in. She stands up and she looks at me and she goes, imagine if we sold a pair of these insoles with every pair of shoes we sell on HSN. And I was like, oh. So didn't hear anything for 2 weeks, but every night I said a little prayer to the universe saying, please, please have this picked up by HSN. And I got a phone call saying that they wanted to fast track the product through HSN. I got that phone call the day before I went back to corporate America. So I knew I wasn't going to be there for long. I was like, this is fine. I just have to help pay the bills, but I'm still on the path for pursuing this dream. So this was in September of 2015, and I went on air to sell Vivian Lou in January, February, and April of 2016. And I was able to sell out of inventory all 3 times. And so that allowed me again to convince my husband that if I can sell out on HSN, I know that there's a bigger market for this product in the United States, much less the world. And so he let me do a job yet again.
Okay. I got to stop you on that one. Yeah. So Home Shopping Network. Everyone who has a product wants to end up on Home Shopping Network. That's the dream. And you just followed the steps again, and there you were. And do they give you some training before you go on air, or how does that work?
It was so crazy. Okay, so I was scheduled to go on air on the 7 p.m. hour. I don't know what day of the week it was. So I flew in the night before. I was supposed to arrive. I was told I was supposed to arrive at 12:30 for training. Like, they put microphones in your ear. You have the producer talking in your ear. You have to show how your product goes. I mean, it's just, you walk. So anyway, I show up at 12:30. people are running to come get me. They're like, you're a half hour late. I was like, no, it says that I had, show up at 12.
Yeah.
So I was frantic just walking into this thing. So nervous. I did not want to be on live television. It was crazy. I brought all of my stuff, including my outfit, just because I was like, I don't know how long this training is going to be. So they send you through this training. You have to go into a studio. They put earbuds in. They have 3 cameras pointing at you. Producers are talking in your ear. You're supposed to be talking to the host, showing your product. I mean, it's just this whirlwind of training.
Right.
We ended early and they said, oh, you can go back to the hotel room and wait a couple of hours and then come back to get your hair and makeup done. And I looked at them and I'm like, if I leave right now, I won't come back. Like, I'm so terrified.
Right. Nor would you be able to relax even if you, You'd be like, well, wait, what time am I really supposed to be here?
Right. So I literally sat in the lobby with my dress on a hanger, my suitcase full of shoes to show for my demonstration. And I literally just sat there trying to breathe. I'm like, just breathe, just breathe. So,
yeah, I might be doing the same thing if I were you. Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
But we made it through and
mm-hmm.
it was an incredible experience.
Wow. Good for you. And do you still do HSN periodically? Is that
so
a regular?
HSN was purchased by QVC like a year and a half ago. And so their processes have changed. So the product is still sold online through them. But I have not gone on air probably in about over a year now.
Okay. Okay. So, and after that, I mean, can you say you're a privately held company? Are you comfortable saying like how much in sales you do or how many units you sell?
Sure. So, like on HSN or overall. So last year we closed just shy of $4 million in sales. The previous year, It was around $4 million. And then the previous year before that was 3. So, I mean, it fluctuates, but we do multi-million dollars in sales every year.
Which covers your corporate salary.
Which covers my corporate salary.
More than covers your corporate salary. So everything's cool on that front. You no longer have a corporate job. Okay. What was your corporate background?
So I had a degree in journalism and a master's in business communication. So I started off in PR and then kind of morphed into employee communications, which is like internal communications for larger companies. Yes. And that's really where I thought I wanted to end up, was like the SVP of a corporate communications department in some Fortune 500 company. But because of my husband's job, we bounced around not quite a bit, but fairly frequently. And so I found myself working for smaller and smaller companies. And I realized that I liked playing bigger roles in smaller companies for around just kind of marketing of a product or a service, and wearing multiple hats. So, and then I was fortunate enough at one stage to work for a gentleman who ran 3 online stores. And so it was just watching him manage the business. And I was like, why couldn't I do that? I could do that.
Right.
So
yes. Oh, cool. You talked about the people that you rely on who help you in various areas. And I know you work with Sarah Shaw. Yes. Who introduced us and was my last guest, actually. Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned from Sarah?
Sure. So Sarah has been absolutely phenomenal, and her team really has helped on 2 fronts. Okay. One with kind of celebrity outreach, magazine outreach, that sort of stuff. So it's kind of the PR celebrity side. And then she also has helped me with kind of the retail side. I had some resistance around retail for a long time. And I don't know why, to be quite honest. I should probably do some tapping on that, but it was just... I love telling the story of our product direct to consumer. And so relying on someone else to sell that product in a store, it just didn't seem authentic. So because we were having so much success online, I was like, do we really need to go into the retail space? Right. But just because of the turn of events and where we are in things, I've pressed hold on going into the retail space again, focusing on just online direct to consumer. But her and her team for outreach on celebrity and stuff, and magazines has been phenomenal. They've gotten great results. Yes. Nice. Yeah.
Nice. Great. Thank you. So it seems like once you hit the HSN mark, your company just went like just sort of hockey stick growth, like straight up. But were there some bumps in the road also?
Yes. So, and it wasn't quite hockey stick straight up.
Okay.
So it was great because they placed POs and then I would ship them the product. So these 3 POs that came in actually helped pay off debt that I was in. So I was so incredibly thankful. But I realized that I didn't want to build a business reliant on an HSN or a distribution channel like that.
Right,
and so
right.
I was hell bent on figuring out Facebook ads. And so the fall of 2016, I finally figured out Facebook ads, and that has sustained growth. So that was what kind of changed the trajectory for me in terms of consistent growth, has been figuring out online ads and getting in front of people who really want this product.
Oh, and are those ads targeted to individual consumers or to stores or?
So it's just Facebook ads online. So if you go into the platform and I can say, hey, target women who buy Christian Louboutin shoes. And so these ads are shown to women who wear Christian Louboutin shoes. The audience that took off for me was women in shopping and fashion. But Facebook, the algorithms change all the time, and it is completely different than what it was in 2016. So.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I tend to not wear high heels because I have an issue with my toes, and I wear what are those called? Slides. Slides. Do your insoles work with those as well?
So our insoles work with any shoe, any style and type of shoe with a 2-inch heel or higher. So it could be a wedge, it could be a kitten heel, it could be a stiletto, it could be a boot, any style and type of shoe with a 2-inch heel or higher. But we also have insoles for flat shoes that they're called heel cupping insoles. So they actually, oftentimes in flat shoes, like your heel bone is rounded, but in a flat shoe, you're stepping and putting undue pressure on this rounded heel bone. And so the heel cupping insole actually just goes in the back of your shoe and it matches the asymmetrical shape of the heel and reduces pressure on the plantar fascia. So
I need that. Okay. I need that because I just have a tendency to not wear high heels, and I'm 5'9", and I sometimes feel like, I don't want to, anyway, whatever. So
I think tall girls who wear high heels are the best. I wish I were super tall and I would still wear high heels.
Okay, so I'm going to try your product and see how I feel about that. Yay. And then, but I stopped wearing flat shoes also, which I really love. And there are so many that are cute because it was a problem for my foot. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to order it all. Okay. What website can people go to order these?
Sure. So it's at vivianlou.com, VIVIANLOU.com.
Okay, that's awesome. Now tell me how is this COVID experience impacting you or your company?
So sales have tailed off because not very many people, our main product is the insole for high heels. Not very many people are going out and stepping out in their fancy shoes these days. But it's also been kind of a blessing in disguise. So experiencing growth at a kind of a rapid pace, you bring on these people and you bring on these services and all of this stuff because I believed it was in the best benefit of the company. So it was such a great opportunity to take a step back, slow down, figure out what I truly need in the business and get it back to kind of humming. Even if sales are low, those sales are so much more profitable than what they used to be. So it's really kind of taking a step back and looking at the profitability of the company and making changes and tweaking. And it kind of feels good to get back into everything, and have a hand in everything and kind of get back to the true mission of why I started this business in the first place and interacting with customers more. And, it's just, it's been, it's kind of like a coming home in a sense to the basics of the business and the product. It's a little bit more challenging having school-aged kids home. And I think the most challenging thing isn't having to help them with schoolwork and splitting the day up. It's having people, I know this is going to sound weird, but like in my space, I'm used to having the house to myself. And so my husband's now in the basement working all day. The kids, are in the living room and dining room doing their homework. And it's interesting. Like I don't have my business Abby space
Yes.
anymore.
Yes, yes.
It's all combined with, wife and mom and teacher and all of this stuff. So it's been an adjustment for all of us, but in the grand scheme of things, super grateful for our health and that we're able to do this and that we have space to kind of figure out where each of us is going to work during the day.
Yeah. Well, no, that is a very real thing. And it's like, you might need an hour of just quiet time to think something through and create and analyze. And
I take the dog on much longer walks these days.
Oh, very interesting. Yes. There's a lot of walking going on in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot more walks. Oh, that's great. Okay. 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 One more question about Vivian Lou. Do you have full-time employees?
So I designed this company not to have full-time employees. So so in my role in corporate America, I once managed a team of 26. And I vowed that if I could do things my way, I would never have formal employees. So I have contractors that I have a VA firm that does customer service. I have a warehouse that does all fulfillment and returns and all that kind of stuff. Right. I have a design team. I have a team that helps with Facebook ads and advertising. I have a development team. So at any given time, and I also like to say, I don't give too much responsibility to one agency or one person. Okay. And the reason why is because I look at my company as kind of a wheel. And so if one of the spokes falls out of the wheel, then I can plug myself in and make sure the company keeps going. But if there was an agency per se that had like a third of the responsibilities, so they did Facebook ads, they did Google ads, they did development, they had a huge chunk of my business. If I decided that we didn't want to work together or they decided we didn't want to work together anymore, I mean, that's a huge chunk to take out of your business to replace. Yes. And so I like to divide up work into little chunks so that if I need to plug in, that's easy for me to do to keep the wheel turning.
Very smart. Very smart. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thanks. So do you, if there's someone out there listening to this who's been thinking about starting a company, what would you say to them?
Do it.
Yes.
I would say trust. Honestly, I know this, people say this all the time, and it's a muscle you have to build, but trust your gut, listen to those little whispers. And even when you're not feeling it, take one step every day. It could be picking up the phone and making one phone call. It could be Googling one thing. It could be, just deciding on a color for something. But every day, take one step so that you're one step closer to achieving your dream.
Yes, I totally agree. Thank you. That's awesome. I love how you express that.
Oh, well, thanks.
And my final question is there anything that we haven't discussed that you think is important to share right now for entrepreneurs or founders or people thinking about that route?
Yeah. I think during this time particularly where there's so much uncertainty and so much kind of noise, it's hard to get distracted, is give yourself grace. Like, I feel like there's so much going on, and I feel like there's also some shaming going on in entrepreneurship right now, saying you have this time off or you have this time at home.
Yeah.
If you aren't learning a new skill, if you aren't doing something if you aren't pursuing this, you're a failure or you're wasting your time. You're not committed enough. And I just kind of call BS on that. People are processing this time in a very, very different ways. People have very different home situations. We have no idea what you have to face during the day. So grant yourself some grace is my advice.
Yeah, completely. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Abby, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for everything you've shared. I'm so glad that you were a guest on Founders and Startups, and I look forward to continuing our conversations in whatever realm that is within. And I wish you great continued success.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. We'll talk to you soon.